Vince McMahon is building a new company. Solo Sikoa acknowledges Roman Reigns. Samantha Irvin looks almost unrecognizable. Nick Aldis happy after a top WWE star was attacked backstage. The Rock fires Kevin Owens. Paul Heyman's acting is top tier. Cody Rhodes is injured. An update on Solo Sikoa's future after his loss to Roman Reigns. AJ Styles shares an injury update. Let's dive right in. Solo Sikoa acknowledges Roman Reigns. Solo Sikoa lost the tribal combat on WWE Raw's Netflix premiere to Roman Reigns, following which he missed this week's SmackDown. The self-proclaimed tribal chief was in hiding this week, and the members of his bloodline wreaked havoc on WWE SmackDown. Jacob Fatu led from the front and ensured that Sikoa's team was part of nearly every major segment of the show. WWE seems to be keeping Sikoa's bloodline prominent on the show, and he is advertised to return on next week's SmackDown. With that in mind, here are directions for Solo Sikoa after missing WWE SmackDown this week. Number 1. Acknowledges Roman Reigns as the tribal chief. Roman Reigns faced off against his former enforcer on the Netflix premiere of Raw. The two men had a decent match, but Solo Sikoa failed to capitalize on a few occasions. In the end, the OTC won the contest to become the one true tribal chief. It was a big moment for Reigns and The Rock, who joined him in the ring. The upcoming episode of SmackDown could see Solo appear alone or with his team to acknowledge Roman Reigns as his tribal chief. He could then announce that he will work with his team separately from Reigns and continue as a heel to vent his frustration. Number 2. Solo Sikoa could return to join the babyfaces. Cody Rhodes and Jimmy Uso were the only two men who could stand up to Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga this week. The latter two attacked several stars, including LA Knight, before the American Nightmare challenged them to a tag team match. Rhodes left Jimmy high and dry during the contest to settle his differences with Kevin Owens. Next week's show could see Solo Sikoa come out to help Cody Rhodes and Jimmy Uso at a crucial moment during their brawl with Fatu and Tonga. The angle would effectively turn Sikoa face and keep him part of the top card. He could continue to team with his brother Jimmy Uso to try to take down the villains that he created following Roman Reigns' direct orders. Number 3. Solo Sikoa could continue to work with his bloodline as the pseudo-tribal chief. WWE will need to find a way to keep members of Bloodline 2.0 relevant on SmackDown after Solo Sikoa's loss to Roman Reigns. One way to do that could include having the former enforcer continue his delusional character. Solo could continue to call himself the tribal chief on the Blue brand, vowing to get back at Roman down the road. Jacob Fatu and the others could continue to work with him as part of the Bloodline so that WWE SmackDown continues to have a top heel faction. Sikoa's character could also help keep the Usos busy for some time, and the heels could secretly work with Reigns to undo Cody Rhodes before his potential WrestleMania 41 match against the OTC. Roman Reigns worked extremely well as a heel. He could turn once again if he wins the 2025 Royal Rumble for his match against the American Nightmare. Having Solo Sikoa secretly work for him before the potential match would add even more layers to the Bloodline story. Number 4. Form a new faction on WWE SmackDown. Many top stars have had problems with Roman Reigns and the OG Bloodline over the years. Drew McIntyre recently returned to hunt down members of the faction, but suffered a setback on Raw's Netflix premiere against Jey Uso. Meanwhile, Kevin Owens also showed that he wants to get back at Reigns in any way possible. He attacked the OTC during the tribal combat, but Solo Sikoa couldn't take advantage of the situation. The former enforcer could return to WWE SmackDown to join Owens and McIntyre next week. The three men could work together to attack Cody Rhodes, the Usos, and Sami Zayn. It would be a supergroup that could give Roman Reigns a tough time in the coming months and also take away his Royal Rumble victory dreams. Samantha Irvin looks almost unrecognizable. Former WWE ring announcer Samantha Irvin is looking quite different in a new photo shared on her official Instagram handle. She posted the picture shortly after her birthday on January 9th, 2025. Irvin's decision to leave WWE last year shocked the wrestling world. Many fans speculated she was on her way to join her partner Ricochet in All Elite Wrestling, but the latter made it clear that this was far from the truth. In a new post she shared on Instagram, Samantha Irvin looks almost unrecognizable with wavy hair. Ricochet and Irvin both worked for WWE not too long ago. However, things changed when he left the promotion, and Samantha left months later. In a chat with Chris Van Vliet, Ricochet said the following about the duo's WWE exits: "I have so much respect for this. I put my heart, my soul into this. I gave it literally everything that I have to make WWE better because of the love that I have for it. But at the end of the day, it's just not what I was born to do. And just like me, I told her, if you feel even half the way that I feel like this isn't what I want to do. I feel like I could be doing more as well. And that's kind of why I left, and she just feels like she could be doing more, and honestly, maybe at the time, maybe she doesn't want to do anything." Ricochet has done incredibly well in Tony Khan's All Elite Wrestling so far following his WWE exit. As for Irvin, many fans still believe she will join Ricochet in AEW somewhere down the line. Nick Aldis happy after a top WWE star was attacked backstage. Nick Aldis was spotted breaking character and corpsing during a backstage brawl involving LA Knight and Jacob Fatu. Aldis is the current SmackDown general manager. Earlier tonight on SmackDown, a massive brawl ensued involving Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga and Cody Rhodes and Jimmy Uso. The heels put Jimmy down, but the American Nightmare sent Fatu out of the ring with a clothesline. An enraged Jacob Fatu began brawling with WWE's staff backstage. Fatu made it clear that they weren't going to take him out of the venue. Suddenly, LA Knight appeared and drove Fatu out and shut the door. While Knight was leaving, WWE SmackDown GM Nick Aldis could be seen corpsing over the hilarious turn of events. Later in the night, LA Knight took on Shinsuke Nakamura in a United States title match. As expected, Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga interfered during the final moments of the bout, mere seconds after Knight hit the BFT on Nakamura. Thus, Knight won the match via DQ. The heels began beating Knight up, but the beatdown didn't last long as Cody Rhodes and Jimmy Uso came out for the big save. A tag team match was then made official, pitting Rhodes and Uso against the Bloodline. Fatu and Tonga were victorious over the babyfaces when all was said and done. As for Nick Aldis, the veteran was appointed SmackDown's GM by WWE CCO Triple H in October 2023. It would be interesting to see how the game reacts to the hilarious footage of Aldis corpsing on SmackDown. The Rock fires Kevin Owens. The Wiseman Paul Heyman opened this week's edition of WWE SmackDown with an electric promo, where he announced that after recapturing his Ula Fala, Roman Reigns is now aiming to regain the undisputed WWE title against Cody Rhodes. In order to earn his shot, the OTC will be entering the 2025 Men's Royal Rumble match. With his groundbreaking announcement, Heyman brought out Cody Rhodes to express his thoughts. Rhodes came out, but before he could say anything, Kevin Owens interrupted and disrespected the champion, questioning what worse could the American Nightmare possibly do after teaming up with Roman Reigns at Bad Blood last year. He expressed that he was not a fan of the champion shaking hands with The Rock. KO then took shots at the final boss, accusing Rhodes of shaking Rocky's hands as he, Rock, kissed your A and rubbed the American Nightmare's ego the right way. However, before Kevin Owens could add further insult, Rhodes jumped the barricade, and the arch rivals got into a brawl. The prizefighter's comments may not sit well with The Rock, as the final boss is a board member at TKO. The People's Champion could use his position to fire Owens from SmackDown ahead of his title match at Royal Rumble 2025 behind Triple H's back. During his NXT appearance, The Rock revealed he thinks 20 steps ahead and has some plans hinting that he is still on board with competing at WWE WrestleMania 41, despite rumors of him skipping the show of shows this year. Rocky could insert himself in the title match against Rhodes by removing Owens from the match following the incident on SmackDown. That said, the proposed angle is speculative at this point. Roman Reigns captured a historic win over Solo Sikoa and regained his position as Tribal Chief, and also got back his Ula Fala during WWE Raw's debut episode on Netflix. Many expected The Rock to return and reveal himself as the true mastermind behind the fall of Reigns and the Bloodline saga to continue till WrestleMania 41. Fans would finally see the dream bout between Reigns and the final boss at Show of Shows. The Rock did come out after Roman Reigns won the match, but he shockingly acknowledged Reigns and put the Ula Fala around the OTC's neck. The segment was a subtle hint that the dream match might not happen soon. On WWE Raw's post-show presser, Roman Reigns interacted with the media. At one point, an interviewer asked the OTC about a potential match against The Rock at WrestleMania this year. "I don't have to tease anything here. You guys do it for us. We're just gonna let the internet do its thing. That would just defeat the whole purpose of this. The internet won't do its thing if I said yes or no, so we'll see," Roman said. Paul Heyman's acting is top tier. Heyman kicked off this week's episode by proclaiming Roman Reigns as the one true tribal chief. He then called out Cody Rhodes and congratulated him for being a great champion. The special counsel mentioned that Roman was keen on reclaiming the undisputed WWE Championship and was entering the Royal Rumble 2025. Before Cody could respond, Kevin Owens showed up, and the two started brawling amidst the crowd. With Rhodes distracted, Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga showed up to attack Heyman, but Jimmy Uso rushed in to save the Wiseman. This week on Smack Talk, Apter commented on the Wiseman's intense reaction as Tama Tonga and Jacob Fatu ganged up on him. The veteran journalist found Paul Heyman's terrified expression very striking and felt it should have made the show's highlight reel, driving the importance of the moment. The look of terror on Paul Heyman's face was priceless. You could frame that photo. Roman Reigns and John Cena are two major stars who have announced themselves for the 2025 Royal Rumble. It will be interesting to see who else joins these two megastars with aspirations of headlining WrestleMania. Cody Rhodes is injured? Cody Rhodes was left hurt at the end of WWE SmackDown after things went very wrong on the show. He was left in visible pain and was heard groaning as the show went off the air. Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens began to brawl into the crowd as the match ended, with both of them taking things a bit too far. The stars ended up fighting on crates, and then Rhodes finally decided to put an end to things by hitting him with a tackle, which took both of them from the box through a table. The star was left groaning in pain, as was Kevin Owens. The two stars fell from the box through the table, with both of them taking the impact from the moment. Neither star was willing to give up. However, Owens made grabs for Rhodes soon after, even though he could barely move. For his part, Rhodes got to his feet and was then taken away, still groaning, by the officials who were present at the scene. With both stars hurt, there are big things waiting for them in 3 weeks' time when they face each other in the Royal Rumble in a ladder match. An update on Solo Sikoa's future after his loss to Roman Reigns. WWE has provided an update on Solo Sikoa's next appearance during the latest episode of SmackDown. He didn't show up on the blue brand this week after losing to Roman Reigns on Raw last Monday night. The former NXT North American champion and the OTC opened the show competing in tribal combat. It was announced that the winner would be awarded the Ula Fala and would officially be known as the Tribal Chief. Roman Reigns emerged victorious, and his cousin The Rock presented him with the Ula Fala after the bout. Tama Tonga and Jacob Fatu were the only Bloodline members who appeared on SmackDown this week. Tonga Loa is still injured, which is why he has been absent for the past few weeks. The heel stars were involved in a few brawls during the show. In the main event, they defeated Cody Rhodes and Jimmy Uso in a tag team match. WWE announced during SmackDown that Solo Sikoa will make his return next week. This comes after there was uncertainty regarding his future following his loss to Roman Reigns. Reports suggested that Sikoa would be fired following his loss, but it seems that will not be the case, and it remains to be seen whether his stablemates will still accept him as the leader. Solo cannot call himself the Tribal Chief anymore, so it'll be interesting to see what he does next. Some fans believe that Tama Tonga and Jacob Fatu will turn on him. Only time will tell what happens. AJ Styles shares an injury update. AJ Styles is opening up about the challenges he's facing after suffering an injury during his much-anticipated return to the ring on the October 4th, 2024 episode of WWE SmackDown. Styles, who was eager to get back into action following an extended hiatus, sustained a Lisfranc injury in a match against Carmelo Hayes, abruptly ending the bout. On January 10th, 2025, Styles took to Twitter to address a fan asking for an update on his recovery and potential return to the ring. His response was straightforward and honest. "I'll be honest, this injury is challenging." The tweet gave fans insight into his current mindset as he works to recover from the severe foot injury. The injury came at an unfortunate time for Styles, who had just made his return to WWE television with plans to revitalize his legacy. The match against Hayes was supposed to mark the start of a new chapter for the Phenomenal One, but instead, it left fans worried about his future in the squared circle. There is currently no timetable for Styles' return, leaving the WWE universe in limbo. Fans have flooded social media with messages of support, hoping the former WWE champion can overcome this obstacle and make a triumphant comeback. As AJ Styles continues to navigate his recovery, the wrestling world stands behind him. Vince McMahon is building a new company. Vince McMahon will forever be synonymous with WWE and pro wrestling. Despite his 2024 departure from the company he and estranged wife Linda McMahon co-founded, McMahon recently wrapped one case with the federal government and is now planning a return to the spotlight. New details are being revealed on Vince's new home base, what he's been up to as of late, and plans for the future. The genetic jackhammer built one of the biggest entertainment companies in the world, which was acquired by Endeavor in 2023 for over $10 billion. McMahon left in January 2024 after a former employee accused him of sexual misconduct. WWE distanced itself from the former chairman, and he has laid low since then, fighting legal issues and, as we now know, building his next company. Vince McMahon was also credited with saving WWE during a recent catastrophe. McMahon began plotting his next endeavor before last October. Multiple sources reported that the billionaire has been working on a new entertainment hub company to fund, develop, and produce TV and film projects, with a focus on fiction and non-fiction. McMahon's new venture is not expected to compete with WWE or launch anything similar to wrestling. Vinnie Mac called on at least 2 former WWE employees to help him out. Former COO Brad Blum, described as a McMahon loyalist, and former SVP of Entertainment Relations Kristen Prudy. There are other names believed to be involved, but longtime ally Kevin Dunn, WWE's former executive producer and chief of global TV distribution, is reportedly not involved. McMahon and his team are hoping to officially launch the company if and when his legal issues are resolved. Eric Bischoff has revealed new details on what Mr. McMahon is up to. On the latest 83 Weeks, Co-host Conrad Thompson noted how he and JBL think McMahon will announce a project this year and asked Bischoff his thoughts. The WWE Hall of Famer revealed McMahon has bought production properties in Santa Monica, California. This is in line with the initial report on the company likely being in Los Angeles, which is less than 1 hour from Santa Monica. Eazy-E then revealed Vince McMahon had hired several people for the new venture, referring to it as a skeleton staff, which also is in line with the initial report. The 69-year-old longtime wrestling executive also made a prediction on McMahon's expected post-WWE future after he was asked about a potential announcement in 2025. I have no idea. I mean, I do know what I do know, or what I've been told, at least, is that Vince has purchased some pretty significant production facilities in Santa Monica. He's got a bit of a skeleton staff that he's put together, and sounds like he's got plans of moving forward in the entertainment business. Whether that's wrestling or something else, I don't know, but I don't think he's going to go away, Eric Bischoff said. Incorrect rumors making the rounds claim Vince McMahon is building a wrestling roster, and the confusion stems from Jim Ross's podcast after Conrad said Vince was putting together a roster and had bought property. Thompson later clarified on X, noting that he was just relaying the information from Bischoff and that he referred to a roster of employees to work on the new company, not a roster of wrestlers. Vince McMahon reached an agreement with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, but did not admit or deny its claims. The former chairman was found to have violated the Securities Exchange Act by not disclosing hush money settlements with WWE's board of directors. McMahon will pay a $400,000 federal fine, reimburse WWE over $1.33 million, and cease violating certain provisions. WWE had misstatements in its 2018 and 2021 financial statements due to the failure to disclose. Vince McMahon issued a statement on the ruling, which ends 3 years of multiple federal agency investigations. The billionaire defended himself and said he was thrilled to put this behind him. The agreements, worth $3 million and $7.5 million, were paid to 2 women in order to stop them from revealing allegations.